Okay. And then I'm going to share. Is it okay if I do that, Sharab? Okay. Okay, guys, can you see Sharab's screen now? No. Okay. Okay, hang on. Sharab, is there something I can pull up? I don't want to. The little elephant? Okay, can you guys see Sharab's screen now? Okay. Let me go check that. Still no. Let me try it again. Oh, there we go. It didn't do this last time. Maybe I was clicking too fast or missed it. All right. Okay, so I think you're good. Awesome. Okay, thanks, Kat. Okay, so now you should be able to see and hear Sharab. Okay, all yours. Thanks. Thanks for your patience, everybody.
So I think in the document which Medha just said, it has the instructions to kind of install Postgres as well as restore a database. This is the database that we are looking at, I2B2 demo data. So it's in the instructions if you guys are not there, but you can try at home or later time. So if I look at it, these are the tables that this database has. And let's look at one specific table. Let's, for example, like visit dimension over here. So if I want to know, if I want to look at like what data that it has, I can just right click and say like view top 100 rows. So when I click that, it gives me 100 rows what it has. So all the columns and the rows that the table has. So this is just like quickly by clicking, you can see the data. And if you want to query something like actual write the SQL, which we just went through, the select star and the where clause. So you need to just click on the SQL here and say like I am selecting maybe from this table visit dimension. I might have missed something. Okay, so if I have to query anything, I just need to add the database name, I2B2 demo data, dot the table name. So this is how I need to query. And say if I need to select only an encounter where the encounter num is like 471885, or where the active status over here is U. So we just write the query where active. I'm sorry? Yeah, if you're running as an individual query, you don't need a semicolon, but if you're running like a multiple queries at some same time, you need a semicolon. I'm sorry? Each case? No, it doesn't matter. Like if I'm, what I mean is if I'm running like two queries at once, then I need a semicolon to separate to tell that this is one first query and this is second query. That's where I need semicolon.
What it means is the same name out there, you can write multiple select queries.
So yeah. So right now, so if here I'm running two queries where I want in the my where clause I have active status equal to you, and now I'll have like active status not equal to you. So if I have to run both this query, I need semicolon over here to tell that. Okay? So if I run here, it gives me all the rows in the table that has you as active status. And if you need to order by, like we went through one of the statement called order by. So if I need to order by, say, for example, the start date, I need the start date to be the first. So if I just click it, the first start date was 1997. So if I need to know the earliest start date, which is the latest one, if I write a DESC, that will give me the latest date, that is 2010. So is decreasing order, increasing and decreasing order. If I write one statement, if I just need to execute one statement, I just highlight those statements like this and just click this button. Yes. Or you can do F5 as well. F5 is a short to run the SQL if you say like F5. Yeah. So if I need to just select like two columns.
Come on in. So for those of you who don't know Dr. Hobbs, she is one of our physicians who are studying for the Clinical Informatics Medical Boards, and she is a guest for the SQL portion of the class today. Because I have lots to learn. Thank you. I'm going to share.
So this is the SQL. I just wrote like selected two columns. Let me know if you guys want any specific SQL or anything you want to include.
Okay, so I'm going to ask them some questions about your query, Sharab. So which columns is Sharab pulling from the table? Yes. Okay, everybody got that? Okay, now can somebody describe the rows that Sharab is interested in? Okay, awesome. Okay, Sharab, keep going. I just kind of like to check and make sure everybody's there together.
So I don't know. You guys tell me what SQL you guys want to look at. Yeah. So before that, I wanted to check like how many records are there in a table. How many rows are there? Say. So usually I just write a count star. But this will tell me how many rows are there in the table. Say, for example, in my table visit dimension, I have about like 12,000 tables. And say, if I need to rename a column for my SQL, say I have count star, I want to name this column as different. Say, for example, I want to know this column means rows in a table. So I can just do an alias saying like table name, column name as row counts. So if I execute this statement, the column name here is changed. Now it's row counts. So in database, I can have a column as name anything, and I can rename it by using an alias. It's like alias, yes. And as is optional too, you can just remove that and just say like this one too. So
And if I want to go back to what we had at first, do I have to put another query?
yes, or yeah. So say if I'm going back, I'm just using this thing and going back. This one? Was it this one?
Yeah.
The first one.
When you first renamed it to.
Can you rename that encounter number as, what is it saying like encounter number?
So I think, Felicia, if you're talking about this equal first, this is the one, right? Yeah. So I'm just rewriting the SQL. So if I need to just rewrite it, I'm just using like star over here to get all the columns. And if I need to, like, for example, in this SQL, I'm selecting two columns, encounter num and patient num. So if I need to just change this column name, saying this is encounter for patient or visit for patient. And I'm just renaming this one as like patient MRN. I execute this one. Now if you see the column names over here has changed. This has been renamed to visit for patient and this has been renamed as patient MRN. I think I heard a ding. I don't know where to go.
Okay.
So is it?
Yep, if you go in here. Okay, so Mitra asked if we could do some joins.
Yes.
So let's make sure everybody is good on the, Dr. Hobbs would like to see those joins too. So let's make sure everybody is good on the general select statement. Does everybody understand, do you select certain columns or all of them from some table where some data meets some criteria? Has everybody got that?
Okay.
Can you do one more example select statement?
Yes.
Maybe a different table or something? Okay.
So I'm now looking at our patient table right now. So I have a second table called patient dimension.
What does the star mean?
Select all columns that are there in the table. So this is another table called patient dimension. It has like patient identifier, patient's date of birth, death date, and so forth columns. So demographics mostly. So if like whoever designs the database, they create this table and load the data. So in the file which we just sent, it has all those tables created. If you want to look at all the tables that are there, so if you look at this management studio over here, it tells like there are 28 tables here, and you can see all the table names.
So if you wanted to know what columns were in which tables and a little bit about a column, so say you wanted to know what column was in the
patient table. So
yeah, in the patient table, in the patient dimension table.
So
what would you ask Sharab for? It's an artifact that we talked about earlier. So if you wanted to know what columns were in the patient dimension table, what would you ask Sharab for?
data.
Data dictionary, yes. Okay. And so Sharab, can you do a describe statement on that table?
On this one.
Yeah, or just on some good table if that's not a great example.
So for here, if you guys want to look at what this table has, if you just click on this thing, it will tell me all the columns. If you see here, there are 19 columns in the table. If I further expand, it will tell me everything. And if I go over here it will tell me the complete table, what it has, and what is the data type of it. So kind of like a data dictionary for it. Just telling like what is this column and what is the data type of it.
And so if, say, Sharab was out to lunch and you wanted to know what columns were in that table, if you went to the window and typed in describe, I'm supposing this does ANSI standard. If you typed in describe and the table name, then it would report back that information that's in that table. So that's another way to get data dictionary information. You can either ask somebody for the data dictionary, or you can do you can type the describe statement and use SQL to get your data dictionary back.
Yeah, just one point on describe. Some like Postgres will not take that. SQL Server will take it.
Yeah.
Oracle will take it. So depending on what software you're using, it might change.
Thanks. So that's not in the ANSI standard then?
Yes,
Describe.
yes.
Yeah, type of stuff to describe.
Yeah. So these are the two tables. Maybe we can do, if you are good, then we can go for the joins.
Okay, so is everybody good with the basic select statement?
And
Now, the basic select statement is great when all the data you need are in one table. But if say that you have vital signs and lab data in separate tables, and you're very interested in the patients with high blood pressure who also have high white blood cell count for whatever reason. So then you're kind of in trouble, right? Because you need data from two different tables. And that's when you do the joins, is when you need to query data across multiple tables. And so take it away, Sharab.
yeah, so before I go into joins, just one example on where clause, like in this particular table, I need to select all the, say, male patients. So just write a query where clause, and this is the column that has like the description of gender. So I'm using a equal to, say, male. If I run this will give me all the rows where the it's male patients. Now, one more thing if I need to do, like right now, if you see, I'm putting something in quotes, and when I write some where clause, I'll put without the quotes as well. So that depends on data type. So what I'm saying is here I'm saying like where patient num. So I'm selecting where this ID, the patient num is 1003. So if I do this, if you see here, I'm not putting any quotes. But if I have to select male patient, I'm putting the quotes over here. This is the data types different. If I'm selecting only like characters, then I have to put quotes. If I'm selecting just numbers, I don't have to. So that is being described in the table. So if I go back to a table over here, the table description, you see over here patient num, it says integer. That means it's a number and I don't have to put quotes. Any questions or? Yeah, so right now I'll do the joins. Yeah. Yeah, say now if I wanted to have, say, for example, I want all the male patients and they are, say Asian, or say the race is Asian. So I'll write an and say race code, and so Asian. And this will give me all male patients, and they are Asian, and all male patients. And you can do this thing too. If I want to get a count of all male patients that are Asian, so I just write over here, count star. So that will give me all the patients, count of patients that are male and Asian. So So there are 18 patients in my table. Yeah, so for example, I just wanted to know only male patients. I wanted to run a query, like this is my complete query that has male patients and then the race code as Asian. If I want to like just run only for male patient, I can comment this code by just doing this. You see the color change. So that means I am like instead of deleting that line, I'm just commenting out so that the engine doesn't take that condition. So this will give me everybody. See here, my count change as 82. This is all male patients. And say if I wanted to know male patients with Asian, so I just comment both out and run it. That will give me 18. That is, this is including male patient that are Asian.
It's always a good practice to write comments. So whatever we do on the query, just write on top of it, say, okay, this query gives me count of all patients who are male. So it's kind of easy for everyone to read the code. So that not only developer to read that, someone might read the same code. It's easy for them to see, okay, this code, this block of code is in the count of this.
So yeah, this is.
It's all, maybe you mentioned this, but not use like Kaplan, the data describe Kaplan, yield zero results.
It should it'll be case sensitive. It's not case sensitive.
Your observations are not case sensitive?
My observation.
Variable name, but I think observations.
Observations are for like, for example, for Postgres, they are case sensitive. If I'm going to Microsoft, they're not case sensitive. And depending on installation too, if I install like say Postgres, I can check an option saying like make it case sensitive or make it not case sensitive. So that will vary. I'm sorry?
When you write a comment or annotate your code,
Mhm.
does it end?
Yes, it ends. It ends, yes.
A dash dash?
Yes.
So Sharab, can you write a query to pull all the female patients over 40?
Yeah.
This is a big data set, so there might not be one, but just in case.
So I'm doing all the patients that are female.
Yep.
So now if I see, I have a column called age in years. So I need to write a where clause on this column and age in years. So greater than or equal to 40. So this gives me all the females that are over 40 and over.
If you put the understatement in the same line.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. No. So I can run it in the same column. But the best practice is you write this, like if I'm reading the code, if it's like too wide, so it's very difficult to read, the best practice is to have the conditions in next line. It's easy to read. So I can write all this query in a single line. Say, for example, I can just write this way in a single line.
How do you rename a variable?
Just a second. So I have written everything in single line. I'm executing it. It runs fine. Just a matter of readability. Sorry.
How do you rename a variable?
Rename a variable. You want to rename a column, right? Or is that what you're referring to? Yeah.
Rename a column.
So for example, over here, I am selecting two columns, text code and age in numbers. So now say like this is really long. I just wanted to know, rename it as patient age. If I do it and execute it, so here the column name has changed to patient age. So you can just write as patient age, or you can just put a space and then write a patient age. So that will create a new column. rename the column. Yes.
If you wanted to, so you have an and statement,
Yes.
where and statement. If you wanted to omit just those who are Asians, can you write, what is the declarative statement?
So I want to, I should not include the patients that are over 40. Is that your question, or?
You want to have the same patients that are female over 40, but now you want to omit those who are Asian.
Those are Asian. Okay, so I need to write one more criteria saying, okay, and race code is not equal to. So I'm saying not equal to Asian. This will be my.
And so Shrub, can you order them by age, just to show the order by
Yes.
age?
Right order by.
Change the patient age.
So this has been ordered by patient age. So if you see, we have like 40 or over. So 41 is my first. And I can do like this is in ascending order. By default, it's in ascending order. If I want to know what is the oldest patient, I can do a descending order too by writing BESC. So here my first row has a patient of age 87. And then it goes down by 83, 80. So
Can you also show selecting the max? Using the max
Yes.
function?
So if I want to know what is my max patient age and mean patient age, so there are two functions I think that are mostly universal, max and min. So this is the function max, max of age and min of age. So if I run this thing, my maximum age is 87, minimum age is 41 in my data set right now.
And I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oops.
This is for complete sequence.
Okay, so Visnu, did you have a question?
No, he was just telling
Oh,
how to
okay.
describe the table.
Okay.
Describe the, if you want to see the schema of the table, you just use this SQL command and replace it at the table name with the table that you want to describe. You see the.
Oh, that's how you do a describe in
Yes.
Postgres.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the information schema table.
Here, you replace the table name by the name of the table.
So Vishnu sent a SQL. This is a SQL sent by Vishnu that gives you the description of a table. So what we need to do is in this table name, just replace any table which of which you need to know the description. So for example, here I want to know what this patient dimension table has. I replace the table name as patient dimension, and it will tell how many rows it has, what is the data type, or how many columns this has, what is the data type of this column, and what is the length. So one more concept of length is like over here, if you see vital status code, it is a character and it can store only 50. So if I want to store something which is more than 50, it will throw an error saying I can only accept 50.
Is everybody good on select scenes? Okay, awesome. Drawings.
So I want to know all the female patients and they had a visit. So I need to, like, I have one table called patient dimension that has all patients demographic. And I have one table that has all the visits, patients visits. So if I need to see how many female patients visited, say UMS, then I have to join two tables. So right now, I heard a thing, so.
He can hear you if you answer.
Oh, okay. No, is the answer for you, Mitra.
Yeah, we're not, we're not sure because I thought Describe was ANSI standard, but either it's not ANSI standard or Postgres does not support.
Yeah, Postgres doesn't get that. So now I'm joining two tables. So usually I start with like select from, and then we need the patient dimension. This is my first table. So patient dimension, and you can alias the table. Say for example, if I can write the patient dimension table as PAT, short form for patient dimension. You can alias the table anything you want. I can rename it as A as well, or I can rename it as PAT as well, or PATIENT, anything. So for our case, I'll just rename it as patient, as PAT, and then I'm doing a inner join, or I'm just writing like inner join, and then use the visit dimension table. And I'm renaming this table as visit. So now if I have to join two, PAT from patient num, and I rename this table as visit, so I can just say visit dot patient num. Before that, let me just check one thing. Okay. And here, I wanted to know, I wanted to select only female that has visit, so I'm writing a where clause where from the female, the gender column exists in this table. So I need to write PAT dot column name equal to female. Now, here I can select the columns. Now, I have like maybe 10, 15 columns in one table, 10, 15 columns in another table. I don't want all the columns. So I can just select like, say, from patient table, I need patient num. So I will write PAT as a short form for this patient table that we aliased, dot patient num. And from visit table, which is this thing, I need visit date, the date where the patient came in. So I need a visit dot visit. What's the column name? Let me go back and check the column name. The start date is the column name, so I'll write down the visit dot start date as the visit date. Now I also need the whatever we selected, the sex code. So I'm also writing those columns. So this will tell, this query is giving me all the patients that has a visit because I'm using an inner join. So here join is like, that will tell the common records in two tables. That's what the inner join is. And then where the sex is female. So if I run this query, it will give me all the records where the patients are female, and I can do an order by too as well. So just do an order by start date. The start date is coming from this table, visit dimension. So which we alias as visit. So I'll write visit dot start date. Yeah, so this is kind of like organizing by the dates. And I can do a descending over here, DESC, so that will tell me give me the latest visits.
So if Sharab did an inner join, which records would be in his result set and which records would not be in his result set? So go back to your, think of your slide where we have to do the lessons defined on this.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
I have a question. Now you rename what's the patient,
Yes.
dimension again to the
Yes.
left. But you put that in the left.
Yes.
So if that's, you put before renaming, if that's okay, so it will move. Should you put first the select from before renaming the
Okay.
column, or just
So-
wait, you can rename it first and then put it to.
No, doesn't matter. You can rename it first and then, so usually when you write a SQL, whatever you name this table, that should be used in the select statement. So here, if I use PAT, then I use the same name. So if you see the way I started writing SQL, I first had like this star over there. And then I used the from clause, I wrote this one. Then I came back and then I decided, okay, I join two tables. Now what columns do I need? So then I said like, okay, I need the patient num and the start date. So now patient is coming from this table, from this table, patient dimension, which I renamed as Pat. That's where I am writing Pat. So based on whatever you write it over here, yeah, you use the same prefix.
What's on the
I'm sorry.
on?
On is like, okay, join two tables based on this column. So I have two tables, patient dimension and I have visit dimension. There are two tables. I need to join based on one column. There should be something similar to join those two columns. Yes. Yeah.
Two tables have the same function. And then you can join based on that.
So can you repeat the question?
You can join two tables if they have a common column.
So yeah, column names could be different too. If you like, say for example, I'm joining the patient name. Column names can be different, but the content like should be the same. And say one is integer, one is number, and one is character, then I cannot join those two columns. Yep.
I know in this relational database, each of your tables has one variable in common. In other tables, sometimes you have more than one in common.
Yes.
Can you set that to missing variables?
So for example, like column names. So the rule is like in one table, there should not be same column names. So one table should have unique column names.
Yeah, I meant like.
Yes.
If, let's say that the patient demographic one had name and ID and other things, and then another table had name and ID. Do you put both of them?
Yes, so coming to this point, like for example, this patient dimension table has a column called patient num, and this visit dimension table also has the same column name. To separate those two, I need to write the table alias at the front. So right now here I have like pat.patient num. I can write one more as a visit.patient num. So this will select columns from both the tables. And say, for example, if I'm not, this is selected from both the tables now. The first one is coming from this is coming from patient table, this column, and this is coming from visit, this column. Now, say like if I don't write that, I'm just removing those. And if I try to execute this one, it says like there is an ambiguity error because SQL is not understanding which column to pick or from which table to pick the column. So I have to, if the column names are same, then I have to write the alias.
So in these tables, they'll never be more than one variable in common.
Another could be, there, now normally, it depends on how normalized the database is. If the database is pretty normalized, likely not. If the database is pretty flat, there could be. So in other words, if you might have a table for vital signs where you have the patient contact, patient medical record number and their vital signs data and the visit date being counted in vital signs table. You might also have a lab table where you have the patient number and the visit date and the lab values.
So you can stack.
Yeah, so you could join on multiple ones. So there may be some where there's more than one you can join on. You just have to be careful because if you join on it, it really should be a unique identifier in the table. So if you start joining on stuff that's not a unique identifier, you end up getting nonsense. You end up getting, like if I joined on visit date, irrespective of patients, then I would be joining the data from different patients just based on the visit date, which would be completely meaningless. I could execute it and it would run, but I would not get what I probably wanted.
So how would we stack it and join by two units up at the top? So we have on number.
Yeah, so
and then we'll have another on statement.
So like if you wanted to make it, you would make a composite one and then join based on the composite one. That's how I would do it.
So the left and the right throw me a little bit, depending on my left and my right. But if you have tables, is it for instructional purposes that we say, you know, a left better join? So in other words, there may be a point where I would extract a large body of data from a data source, right?
Mhm.
And I may, as a programmer, say, I'm going to put this table on my left and this table on my right, and somebody else could come along and put the table that
Yes.
switch.
Yes. So
Yes.
the best practices is that the table that has more information, we call it as a deriving table, that should always be on the left. Then the right. So that's the standard you follow. But a developer can change it, may not follow the standard, but mostly people write in this way, like the main deriving table should be on the left and the subsequent tables will be on the right.
So the example that we have in our slides, in slide 21,
The boxes.
I don't remember, I don't have the slides. Sorry.
but they have equal numbers.
Yeah, so Sharab, in the left or the right, can you talk about it being left and right in terms of somewhere in that select statement?
Okay, so say for example, this thing is pulling all the patient that has a visit. If I wanted to know, like if a patient, just give me all female patients, irrespective of they have visit or not, then I write a left join over here. That will give me all the records of female patients, irrespective of they have visit or not. So here my deriving criteria is patient table and females. So if I write this thing, and just to show one example as well, okay, there is one record over here at the back. So that says like my patient is female over here, but here if you see the start date is null over here. That means the patient doesn't have any visit. So this will pull all the records from patient table, but but wherever it doesn't find a match in this visit table, it will just put it as a blank or null values.
So that one, the table on the left, and then not the table on the right. So it's null. So can you do a right out? Can you switch it
Yes.
to the right?
I need to have a criteria for right table I can do this in this one. So if I scroll down, that record doesn't exist now. It doesn't pull that record.
And then how would you do a full outer join?
Yeah, just
full in Postgres?
yeah, it's outer. If I just write an outer join, it will give all the records. Mm,
There you go. Geez.
should be. I'm forgetting the syntax over here.
See,
Yes.
full.
Do you remember the syntax of the outer? Full.
I'm guessing. I have no idea. Because I've never used Postgres.
I'm sorry.
The word full before the outer, full outer join.
Yeah, I tried that. Okay, yeah, full outer join is the syntax on there. Yeah, yeah. As a database developer, we never use full outer joins. Never. There are like, I don't even remember 0.01% of time where full outer join is being used.
Yeah, so I
Union
use
is used
them, I use
most.
them a lot as a, just to look at records and tables, which ones are in this one and not in this one.
Yeah.
Comparing, but I'm not a developer. I'm
Yeah.
a data looker.
So for that, we use like left and right join just to make sure like, okay, it exists in here and not in that table.
So now we have some missing values.
So
The full outer.
yes, we'll have some missing values. So for example, if I scroll down, I need to, yeah, there's one, yeah, over here. This is it is in one table, but it's not in the other table. So you get those back. So this is, since this topic came about, I'll just show one example. So this is what we do, Meredith. If I need to know a female patient is there, but she doesn't have any visits. So write a class saying where patient number is null. So that will give me that single record that exists in patient but not in visits. So yeah, this is one more criteria where we can find that.
Does anybody have any additional questions about the simple select statements or joins?
You can look at unions if you want to.
Yes,
Yeah.
that'd be great. Yeah.
Can you show the one with the top details?
Okay. The syntax for that will be different for every management studio, for every version. So, but we can look at that. In this example, I'm selecting like all male patients and then stacking them on the female patient just to have like a union. So here I've written one query that gives me the patient ID, that is patient num, and the gender and then the race for all female patients. And the second query is give me same thing like patient num, gender and race for all male patients. So if I execute this SQL, so that if you see this one over here, there is a male first record and then there's a female. So records from two tables are being clubbed as one. So if I need one more column, say date of birth. So let me just see what column name is. Yes. So yes. So like for example, if I want to know a patient where the sex code is unknown, I write a one more clause over here saying union is due. So and execute this. I can join as many number of tables as we need based on our situation. What based on the requirements. I don't know if there is any.
Sharab, can you just for example, take one of your, say, for your males, instead of race code, just put something else there, nonsensical. So some other variable, in other words, just to show that it's, what you're doing is you're unioning the stuff in your result set. You're not unioning the actual table in the database. So if Sharab picks a different variable, named visit date or something crazy, I don't know, it might have to be the same data type. But if he picks a different variable in there and puts it in there, then it will stack it together just like you told it to.
So say for example, here I am actually having a vital status code. So if I use this thing, actually this is not, I don't see much patients here. So if I run here, I'm selecting patient num, gender, and then race, but here I have a vital status. It still kind of combines them. See, my vital status is null over here for this male. I need to find one example. Okay, over here.
There you go.
So vital status here is like T and B. But here for a female, this is a race, but here it is actually the vital status.
So if you tell it to do something stupid, it will.
Yeah.
It will put the thing, so up there on the select, it looks like it kept the name of the first one, the name of the column in the union. It didn't do anything to change the column based on the second one. But it stuck the vital status in that same place.
And say if I want, if I'm taking this column out and I put a birth date, this is a date type column, and I try to execute, it will give me an error saying the race is string, but the birthday, date of birth is date.
So
it will not
be the same data type.
Same data type. Yes.
Do it change variable string character?
You can do it in Oracle. How would you do it in Postgres?
So there are functions, and the functions are specific for each database you go. Microsoft's have different function. So based on the function, you can change the data type on fly while writing your SQL.
Does anybody else have any questions or want to see some more examples of select statements or any of the set operations here? So Jan, how, was this pretty, I mean, did you guys cover this in the database class at UA Little Rock? Yeah. So if you guys like this, and if you, as either a secondary data user or somebody who's using a lot with data, there is a nice database course over at UA Little Rock. Jan took it, was it last semester? Semester before last. So Jan's taken it. If you have questions about it, Jan can probably answer them. But if you want to build more skills with relational databases here, we just want to give you an awareness about it, since this is the intro class. But to build more skills, there's a really good full class that probably goes into much more detail. And did you guys cover PL SQL, procedural SQL in there? No. So select statements, and then, but you did learn how to create tables, to set up tables in there, to build a database, in other words.
Hoda says she can't hear.
Oh, can you tell her what I just said? That there's a database class that you had to learn on.
So Meredith, I'm just repeating what Meredith said. There is a database class. If you want to kind of like learn more about it, it's offered in ULR, and Jan can now provide more information on that.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, any questions about SQL? If not, we'll switch back over and talk about entity relation diagrams. That's in a 5-minute break.
Yes.
Okay, we have some time, and we'll take the rest of the time to go over ER diagrams, so let's take a 5-minute break. And I'll get Okay, anybody logged in online? Hoda, Michael, Kat, can you guys hear me? Okay, awesome. So this says it